Hey, Allison Verhalen here, and today I am talking to you about the latest Google Core update of September 2019. I know it's October already. I'm a little behind. Last week was crazy for me, but it's already up on the website. The blog post is, if you want to check that out, at avwritingservices/blog. It's about the Google Core update of September 2019, and that's the title of the blog post. So, what happened with the Google Core update? So if you're not already familiar with it, the idea behind a Google Core update is that Google makes tiny changes to its algorithm all the time, literally like at least 9 times a day on average. So, but about once a quarter, they make what they call as a core update, which is a bigger update. It has more of an impact. A lot of the small changes that happen throughout the year, most of us, they're so small, most of us don't even notice them. But the core update tends to freak people out, and that happened again this year. All the SEO strategists that I follow online were freaking out, wondering what's going to be the core update, because Google never lets us know. They never tell us what they're going to change. They just say, hey, we're making an update. It's going to be big. Enjoy. And that's all they tell us. So it takes a few days to roll out. So by now we should have seen all of the effects of the core update. And what are the results? What have people seen? Well, first and foremost is the health and finances industries took the biggest hit. A lot of people freak out when there's going to be a Google Core update because they're afraid their traffic is going to take a hit and it's going to go down. And that did happen to some people. Some people actually saw a boost. But most of the people who took a hit and who took the biggest hit were in the health and finances industries. And that makes the most sense because Google, and those are really touchy subjects. They're very highly regulated. So Google doesn't want to be responsible for pointing people in the direction of bad information that could potentially get Google in trouble and could hurt someone, either financially or physically or both. So that's why those industries, it's really hard to rank on Google for that reason. And it's gotten even harder. But some people, there is good news. There's a silver lining in this cloud, is that some strategists, some marketers in the health and finances industries actually saw an uptick in traffic after the core update. So that's good. It's not like you're doomed. If you're in those industries, it's not like it's impossible to rank on Google or impossible to get traffic. There are just specific things you have to do, and you have to be really careful about the language that you use. That's why with my clients who are in the finances industries and the attorneys that I work with, I have to be very careful about the language that I use on their websites because there are certain things they're not allowed to say legally. So that's the bad news. The news industry, entertainment, sports, those all took a hit as well, but those are all industries that tend to have a lot of volatility anyway, meaning their traffic tends to go up and down, even on an hourly basis. There isn't really any steady number of visitors that they can rely on coming in on a regular basis. There are going to be sometimes when they have lots of traffic and sometimes where they don't have a lot of traffic, and that's always going to be true of those industries. So as long as your average, it all evens out, then you're good to go in that industry. Again, you might see some peaks, some dips that are larger than normal after the core update. If you're doing your job, if you're creating content your audience wants to see, and especially your subscribers, then that should all even out. So pay attention to your average and make sure that the swings that you're experiencing after an update aren't too big or drastic or skewed. If you're seeing more rises, that's good. But if you're seeing a downward trend after an update, that means you have to change something in your content or how you're going about presenting your content. And then the real estate industry actually stayed about the same after the update. They didn't experience a lot of volatility, not a whole lot, not a big upswing, not a big downswing. They're just kind of coasting through this, just doing what they do, selling houses, selling offices. So that's good. So if you had good traffic in the real estate industry, then you probably still have good traffic. If you had poor traffic and you still have poor traffic, or if you were one of the odd ones out and for whatever reason your traffic went down after the update, talk to me. Reach out to avwritingservices/contact and we'll get that figured out for you. So that's it for the update. As far as, this is going to happen again in another, 3 months? Yeah. Give or take. Google is never on time. They don't have a set schedule, but it's roughly every 3 months that this happens. So what does that mean? Are we always behind the curve? Are we always struggling, trying to figure out what's going to be next? And as soon as we figure out what they're doing, what we should be doing, they change the rules on us. That seems like a pretty dire industry to be in, actually, but I don't think my industry is dire. I think it's awesome, and I love doing this. And I love doing it because I focus on the people. And I think that's what it really comes down to. There are certainly some things that you should be doing to up your SEO. Keywords being one of them. Keywords are always big, and they will always be big because that's how people search for things, is they use keywords, and they will continue to use keywords for the foreseeable future. So doing your keyword research is still very important, and using them properly, not keyword stuffing. Don't fit them in every other sentence. Make it so that it flows naturally in the content, but that there's enough of it that it shows up in Google searches for those terms. And then also create content that your audience wants to see. At the end of the day, Google is just trying to direct its audience to the content that is most relevant to what they're looking for. That's all Google wants. So if you think about your audience, what do they want? Where are they hanging out? How are they looking for the things that they want? And then create content and put it somewhere where they'll find it. Put it where they're hanging out, whether it's on Google, not on Google, but you know what I mean. It could be an ad if you want to go the Google ad route. It could be on your website so that they find it on Google. It could be on social media. It could be on YouTube. It could be all of those things. So really take that into account. Take your audience into account. What are they looking for? What do they want? And how can you get it to them? And that's really SEO in a nutshell. I'm in perpetuity. Create great content that your audience wants to see, and make sure you research your audience. Poll them, talk to them in person, on the phone, on social media. Ask them what they want, and they will tell you. They love complaining about what they're not getting, what they wish they could find that they can't find, what they wish people in your industry would provide that other people are not providing, that you could provide. You could fill in that gap. So that's it. That's my tips for this week. That is about the Google Core Update of September 2019. I will be back at you later with content strategy FAQs. Have a great week and happy marketing.